From a room next to my bathroom in my basement, this is My Worst Holiday. It's a podcast about your worst wedding, bachelor party, whatever party, anything. Fuck it. We want funny stories. If you got funny stories we want to hear here on My Worst Holiday. And for the second time, we have Mr. Brent Hand from the Hysteria 51 podcast. Brent, say hello.
I'm returning, and I actually have internet connection this time, so it's not like like the whole time. So I got that going
so much on podcasts.
Yeah, who knew? This one is video though, so I have to look at myself. So you're losing points for that. But thank you for having me back.
I used to have the AT&T. I think that was kind of hand crank internet. Like like your
it's a two-stroke, and you got to kickstart it. Yeah,
keep going. It's almost like dial-up. Yeah. Come on, you can do this.
We just moved to Tennessee, and they just got internet down here, so we're flagshipping it. So chipping away at that.
It's called Y'all Internet. There you go.
Where do you sign up? Down the holler. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But thank you for having me back on. I greatly appreciate it.
Mosaic TV that we're on. So you're actually closer to them now. So that's
nice.
Super cool.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I'll put you in touch with Tori. She's super cool.
Yeah, that's great. And my face is obviously made for television, so drink it in.
I sent you the picture because
I'm seeing all the dog hair and stuff on my shirt as I'm doing it. Sorry. I'm looking in there. I'm like, oh my God.
At the camera. Yeah, you do.
Sorry.
Look at that. You got a schmutz. I just schmutz. Was that from your
big
nose
TV
thing? And
I ate at some point
today.
And
I'm turned off the audio to blow his nose a little bit ago. And I think that might be what.
But I was still on camera. I did that for you, So yeah.
Yep. Eric Corman's watching. Hey, Eric, how you doing? Hey. So, but no, I was going through Facebook that one day, and there's just your face, and you had a surprised look on your face, and then right below it was this hot bitch in a bikini, and then I screenshot it and sent it to you.
It's like somehow I just knew. I don't know why. It's like when they say your ears are itching, someone's talking about you. When I start smiling, I'm on some weird forum somewhere with a hot chick.
Oh, when I pulled that up, I'm like, ha! I sent that to Brent.
That guy. It's wasted on
Brent,
him.
Tell us everything about you.
Yeah, so I host Hysteria 51 podcast. I've been doing that for over 8 years now. It kind of seems crazy. We started in 2016 and still chugging away. I was originally with John Goforth, was my co-host for several years, and now David Flora of Blurry Photos fame has been on for, we were talking about that. I'm like, I feel like you just started. It's already been like a couple years with him, and hundreds of episodes. So we're cruising on through, and we haven't even announced this yet, but we just signed with Hubbard Broadcasting. So we're in the middle of always fun if you're in podcasting, a migration to a new hosting server, and should be great. And we're going to be on a lot more advertising on radio and stuff like that. So as the old
fantastic. That's great.
We're going terrestrial on some things. I mean, it's not television, but there it is. So it's kind of fun, just chugging away. And Hysteria 51, if you want to find it, you can find it anywhere. Just go to hysteria51.com or search anywhere. It's everywhere you find. Well, not everywhere you find My Worst Holiday, like I said, because we're not on television. But yeah. So been a fun ride telling dick and fart jokes about the world of the weird for 8 years. But we do real research. That's what's the fun part. We put probably way too much time into a lot of the stuff, and then my head. So I can't tell you how many times I've done research on a topic and I've started my outline, because we write outlines for the show, otherwise they go crazy. So I have an outline, and then I'm like, you know what? I gotta redo this. Like,
I'll take things I've never done for 1,000, Alex.
Well, we're telling a story, and I get sidetracked easily. Shiny stuff. The ADHD kicks in, and exactly, and tangents and stupid things. So it keeps me honest. But like we do quite a bit of research, and we've had a lot of fun people on the show, and man,
the research I did to do this
whole time. I couldn't think of a better job. I talking to a mic, telling horrible jokes now for 8 years. So
you're full time now.
I've been full time for 8 years. Yeah. So I've
Really?
been doing this.
Jesus.
Yep, full time. Yeah. So, well, there's a little caveat to that. So we started, we got very lucky. And I'll tell you why. So when we first started, we were like, well, let's look up dates of weird things that are happening and try to release some episodes as the dates came out. Because whenever people look for news blurbs, they'll Google things, and the first things that come up, they kind of send them to them. So like our third or fourth episode, we reached out to by Huffington Post or someone like that. It was Huffington Post, Military Online, Yahoo News. A bunch of people reached out and they just did articles. And one of them called us historians, the historians. But anyway, it kind of made people right. Hysteria 51. People found the show, and immediately we started. Within 1 month of starting the show, we were number 64 in the world. Top 100 of all podcasts. Yeah. Number 64 in the world. And a company called, at that time, How Stuff Works, which was, stuff you should know, stuff they don't want you to know, tons of great shows. We're like, hey, we would like to have you become one of our shows. And it was fantastic. And, I'd fly out to Atlanta and record, and they'd send me all over the place. And then they got bought out by a tiny little company called iHeartMedia. And we went to iHeart, and we were with them for about a year and a half. And just weren't really happy. We did a lot of live shows, we did a lot of travel and stuff like that, but we just weren't happy. So we left and went independent, and we have advertising and stuff like that, but we've been independent since and enjoyed it, and I built a studio in my home, and then I started having clients. Then my wife's like, I don't want you to have clients because I don't want people in and out of our house. Like I can't be, sitting on the couch in my pajamas, you're walking people in. Right. So I moved to an office building outside of Chicago. Like, yeah, that's my wife there in the t-shirt. So we moved to an office building, and then that grew. And so we just moved from outside of Chicago to Nashville, and I'm building a new studio here that should be open first quarter next year, we're hoping. And
well, you were too far from me then, outside of Chicago, because I'm in LaSalle.
So I was in Berwyn. I'm right now. We're in that weird. So Berwyn and Oak Park and Cicero, if you're familiar with Chicago, if I go north or south from our house there, you're in Chicago. It circles you. So we're like, right. As there's people in Chicago that are west of us. It's a weird little outlet. So yeah, LaSalle.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leslie says we should take a shot of Malort every time you say dick and fart jokes.
So here's a little
if you don't know what Malort is, you're nowhere near Chicago. And
here's
God bless you, because Malort.
Here's my party trick. I don't mind Malort. I don't mind it. I don't mind the bitter. So I get people all the time and make them take shots of Malort with me. I don't mind it.
Which is in direct relation to people who eat assholes. I think they drink that to get the taste out of their mouth. So
it is. It's not even that high of alcohol content, which is what's kind of crazy, but it's incredibly bitter. I like sour things. I like bitter things. I would rather do that than like a shot of whiskey. I would rather. It doesn't. I guess it just doesn't bother me. My wife will do it too. She doesn't hate it.
I like a strong flavor too, but when it tastes like a flavor, tire wrapped around an asshole.
Like Satan's asshole or something like that. But I like doing it because then you get to see the people's faces when they try Malort for the first time. And if you're not from Chicago, you probably don't know what it is, or someone from Chicago got you, and and then you're like, you motherfucker. Then you got to get someone else, and that's how it works.
Yeah, I've done it twice. It was the first time I tried it, and I go, good God, why? And then the second time was one of my favorite bars was closing, and right before I left, a guy goes, do a shot of Malort with me. And I go, yes, I will. I will do a shot of Malort with you.
So it's kind of an interesting thing.
And it was everything that I remembered it being.
It's a, I don't want to say acquired, but it's made from wormwood. And in Prohibition, wormwood was considered medicinal. So they made Malort and could prescribe it to you because it was wormwood. And that was a way of legal booze. So the company that made it grew like crazy, and people got used to the taste. I guess people in Chicago. other people are terrified. And then, so if you know, so Jeppson's Malort, it sold a couple years ago, and the company that bought it really leaned into how disgusting it is. So now if you go to bars around there, it's like, they'll have posters like, Malort, tonight's the night you finally fight your dad. You know, Malort, when you want to unfriend someone in person.
I love that. Malort,
these fans are going to shoot themselves.
Fight your dad.
And they have a they have a YouTube channel, and they have their official taster. He's like, well, we've brought in Malort, so we have to do quality checks on it, to make sure that every batch is okay. And the guy like picks it up, they lean into how gross it is.
It's okay. It's perfect. My brother Alan is watching. Fred Carroll is watching. Everybody, we're talking to Brent Hand from Hysteria 51. He just moved from right outside of Chicago to Tennessee.
It's funny. My wife keeps me honest. We did not live in Chicago, but we lived as close as you can. And I would say, we're from Chicago. And she's like, no, we are not. Because everyone in like a 3-hour radius is from Chicago. Yeah. So
that's basically it. Cause they consider like LaSalle, Peru, like fucking like, I'm
from right outside of Chicago. Where? Rockford. Oh my God. Yeah. That kind of stuff. So if you're not from Chicago, this makes no sense to you, but every big city has that. Every big city has that,
Fred Carroll says, hello, Mr. Hand.
Hello.
Penny Haven is watching. Hey, Brett, she says.
Man, I tell you, I'm bringing them. Thank you guys for joining.
You're bringing the people.
Yeah, listen to me drone on.
Welcome to my worst holiday, the best unscripted podcast you'll ever see, or not. I don't know.
Don't make assumptions.
If any of you people have stories that you want to tell online or on my show, let me know. And always there. Oh, Penny's a he. Okay. All right, Penny. Your parents didn't like you very much, I guess. What the fuck's that about? Anyway.
See, I took my reading glasses off for you for when we get reflection. Now all I see is blob.
My dad right in the mouth. Penny, you named me fucking Penny, cocksucker Penny.
Look at me. Look at my old ass trying to see.
Mike taken? Fucking Harold. I would have taken Harold.
It's like that's the Boy Named Sue song,
Exactly.
That's the way it works.
How do you do? And now you're going to die.
If you're pouring a shot of Malort right now, I'm going to be so proud.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
There you go.
No, I'm not going to pour myself a glass of asshole.
Liquid ass.
There you go. It's from Sweden.
There, so you know it's good.
So we was talking about what was we talking? Oh, he's talking about we were in Morris.
Yeah.
And we was on our way to Morris.
We go down there all the time. We used to go down there all the time. We got friends there.
I was looking at like a place to. What's that? You got friends there?
Yeah, we got friends in Morris, and then also at that lake right outside of there. So we used to go through Morris quite a bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I was looking for places to eat, and it said the Hideout. I'm like, looked like it had great food and everything. So we put it in the old navigation. We pull up, and I'm out front of the local Legion, the American Legion. And I'm like, and we're looking everywhere because like on the picture, there's like a big sign that says the Hideout on it, now open and everything. And I'm not seeing anything. It turned out it was inside the American Legion.
So it really was hiding out. It's not just a clever name.
We go in there, and actually. Yeah, exactly. Well, you couldn't fucking find it, that's for sure. And they opened up another one that I guess you can't find too. But anyway, I ordered this burger, and the burger was fucking it was big. It was delicious. It was great.
Those are the best places.
About 15 years ago, I had this really bad cold, and I took this Zicam, and it fried like 30% of my olfactory. So like if you used a fart, I wouldn't know it. Yeah, I can smell all good things, nothing bad.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
I can't smell anything bad. If you walk into the room and everybody's going, oh, who's shit? I go, I honestly don't know. I can't smell it. So anyway, this guy comes walking in. He looks a little frazzled. And I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go. somebody gonna try to sell me something or some shit. Like, we got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, what? You got to poop or what? Like, she's like, no. And she's picking up her phone. And she's like the homeless guy behind it. And he's like 2 foot behind me. And she goes, you can smell his balls from here.
Oh my God. And you're just like, thank God for.
And I guess the people behind me, like, they scooted their chairs down further away from him. And
wow.
like, oh, yeah, we can see the TV better from here or whatever.
And they're judging you because you're just sitting there forking down a burger, smiling while the stink lines are coming up.
I'm great. I'm like, oh, these onion rings are phenomenal.
Hey, buddy, you got to try
like,
these.
Yeah.
Man, it's what they say.
Ring. Yeah.
They say the you stink the worst when you can no longer smell yourself, like those kind of people. So yeah. Yeah, that's the worst too. Yeah. I don't know why. When you can smell someone like that, it's like it's all you can think about. Well, you can't, so good on you. But yeah, good Lord, I don't know.
So the second story about Morris is they have like an art fair every now and again, and my wife and I we were up there and in the city square, like on one of the corners, they had like the local dance troupe out.
Yeah.
And dancing and everything. And we were watching, and like they were very talented and everything. And
yeah.
After they were done,
that was just like break dancing or little kids or clog. What kind of dance?
Yeah, little kids and then older. It progressed as like little kids and then the older people. The older class.
No cardboard or linoleum and a boombox or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Now here's the break dancers.
Here's Turbo and Ozone. They're coming out for breaking. Yeah,
exactly.
Breaking 3 was very low budget.
I did get to see the cinematic adventure, the Electric Boogaloo.
Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo, which I like better than the first one. So I'm going to tell you.
I decided not to watch the first one after I seen the second one. But anyway, I didn't want to see the prequel. But anyway, after everybody's done dancing, my wife and I decided to go. They got a bunch of little shops and stuff, and they had like a candy shop and stuff like that. And so we go and we hit the shops and we come back out and there's a big line of drums out in the square and like where everybody was dancing. And we're like, oh, that's cool. And there's like one drum in front, like as a leader. And then the rest of them are kind of half mooned around it.
Yeah.
And so we're standing there and they're all like the same drum. I'm like, well, this looks like it's going to be cool, and then all the drummers start coming out and I'm, did you ever see Mad TV? They used to have a thing called Lowered Expectations. Lowered Expectations. Yeah. And it was like really not pretty
people walking on a beach. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Just hideous looking people.
Yeah.
And so I look at the two on the end and I'm like, honey, lowered expectations. God, I hope they don't breed, and so anyway, like the drumming starts. There's the guy in front, and he goes boom, boom. And then all the drummers go boom, boom. All right.
Yeah.
Like boom, 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 boom. And then they boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, okay, let's get with it. Let's get started. Yeah. Let's do something like bang, bang, boom, 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 boom. And I'm standing there and I'm like, boy, these guys ain't talented, And then after a little while I get to look and I'm like, oh no, they're special needs.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Oh, you're like, oh.
I'm leaving. I'm an asshole.
You look over your shoulder and Jesus is just standing there staring like, It's just like, yeah, I know. Straight to hell. Should I start digging or wait for someone to take me to hell?
Let's get exactly like my spot is secured. I'm sitting there just like after I'm even driving home. I'm just like, nope.
Well, so for the whole time I lived outside of Chicago, we'd always go to the same bar. My wife and I was right by her house, and it was called the James Joyce Irish Pub. Shout out to them, Chalky, Colin. Hi guys, they're the owners.
James Joyce Irish Pub.
And it's great. It's fantastic. They're from Ireland. It's very authentic. You know, it's a blast. But they do on events and everything. They have the drum and pipe corps come in. So you have 15 guys with drums and 15 guys with bagpipes in a small bar, and they're great. And they do crazy stuff. And then you can't hear for about an hour and a half because it's so damn loud. one bagpipe in a bar is loud.
Jesus, is loud enough.
And you got that, you know, everyone's screaming because that's the only way you can hear. And then it's so funny because afterwards, everyone is yelling to one another, talking because no one can hear shit. You know, it's like, hey, did you want another drink? You know, it's fun and they're so good, but maybe let's take it outside. You know, let's stick that to summertime stuff. You know,
it's like talking to me on the reg. You know, like everybody's like, Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I'm hard of hearing too. My wife's like, why are you yelling?
Loud.
Yeah, I'm like, did you want us? I yell all the time because I can't hear crap. And so, yeah. And she's just like, stop yelling. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So I in my head, I try to talk softer, but you know, you have a couple drinks and you forget about that. And then you're, you know, now I'm an asshole. Yeah. But that's a different story.
Yeah. He's like, I'm loud anyway. And then like I get a couple drinks in me and yeah.
Yeah. You know how it goes. That's another reason I never. Here's a little peek behind the curtain. We'd always say, "What are you drinking?" And John would always say, "Brent's drinking Bud Light." I was never drinking Bud Light. That was just a joke. I always drank Diet Mountain Dew because if I drink and try to record, I go off on tangents. Like I'm just like, and that's why my 8th birthday sucked, and you know, like stuff like that has nothing to do with anything. So I'm just like, I can't do it. So everyone was always like, you drink Bud Light, that's disgusting. And I'm like, I don't. Like, it was just a joke that, you know, he's drinking piss water.
The question was,
I was drinking Diet Mountain Dew. It's not any better, but you know, what's that?
My 8th birthday sucked.
Yeah. Just like, Mom, you know, just really working through some tragedies here on our Roswell episode of Hysteria 51.
Yeah, exactly. The question was about Stonehenge. I don't know where we went off the rails, but
speaking of hinges, so I learned that very quickly before we even really started. I'm like, because you know, when we first started the show, John and I, we were like, let's make sure when we were first like, we wanted to do a podcast. Let's make sure that we can talk about a topic. And we just sat a recorder down and we talked for over 3 hours.
Yes.
And we're like, yeah, we
podcaster out there. Yeah. Listen to us very carefully. Have a fucking point.
And record your first couple episodes and then throw them away and then start, you know, because you got to like learn, you know, I tell people that all the time. But and when you start, get 5 or 6 episodes.
Say you've already made it in Hollywood or on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Get the fuck out of podcasting. You've already made it.
Yeah, they got built in.
Find another fucking genre.
You know, either you got to be you need to be a celebrity or hook to on a dick, and then you're just automatically number 3 podcast in the world. Her show right now. That says a lot about.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, yeah. She just came out with that Huck coin that tanked, so she's not going to be doing real well.
That tanked. Who would have thought somebody spitting on a cock and got a fucking podcast would
who could have foreseen this? Who could have foreseen this?
Crazy.
You're telling me the girl that got famous for talking about sucking cock was a scam? Black as white, up as down, cats and dogs living together. The world just doesn't make sense. I don't know. You know, so
yeah, that's why I didn't get into Tracy Lord's new crypto. I'm like, you know, I'm just not doing it, Tracy. Not doing it.
Tracy Lords, that's a name. You're aging yourself with that name there. Good on you, though.
I'm 58.
Yeah, I'm somewhere.
I was jerking off to Marilyn Chambers. What do you want? Like, I'm 58.
No shit, right? That's awesome. You know, it's bad when you name someone like that and everyone's like, who the hell is that? I'm like, oh shit, you know.
Yeah, who's that? What do you mean who's that? She's a goddess.
The videos are still out there. You can find them.
Which we're gonna have to start doing now, because I think that Project 25 is gonna get rid of YouPorn. So everybody invest in DVD players.
Yeah.
Listen to me right now.
Or get real used to torrent sites or something. Lord knows. Yeah, it's We'll find out soon, so.
I got to learn how to get on that dark web because I don't.
What the hell's an onion site in a Tor browser? I don't even. Yeah, right. Like, it's gonna be bad when there's websites out there that used to be for hitmen and methamphetamine are now just regular porn that you're trying to find. It's more profitable than killing people. Yeah. That's the way the world goes. Who knows?
All right, hit us with a story, Brent. What do you got?
So holidays. It's funny. I have a bad habit. My wife would tell you.
It doesn't have to be a holiday. Like I fucked up when I named it, but I did all the work, and now I'm like fucking pigeonholed into it.
No. I got two vacation stories for you because I really try to die on vacations. Not on purpose. So in 2016, we had started Hysteria 51, and we were invited to go on this thing called Podcast Cruise, which eventually became Podcast Movement. And it's the largest podcast thing in the world. Shout out to Jared if you're out there, and Dan. But we go on the cruise, and you're like several hours a day. You're in, you're talking in groups, and you're presenting and stuff like that. It was really like on how to podcast. It's not for podcast fans. It was for podcasters. Well, right before I went in, I had went into my doctor because I was having stomach pains, and then they sent me to get checked, and I had gallstones, and they were like incredibly painful. And he's like, I think you should probably have your gallbladder removed. So I go and I see the surgeon. They're like, absolutely not. You don't need it. There's nothing wrong with it. You're fine. So we travel. We go on this. I go with John. They remove your gallbladder because the stones are in it. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we go on this cruise, and the whole time I'm like, something's wrong. Like I wasn't having gallbladder checks, but I felt really like just sick, So we do the classes and the events and stuff all day, and then everyone's going out drinking and everything, and I'm going right back to my stateroom and just sleeping. I get off, we do this whole thing, and the whole time John was like, "Why are you being weird?" I'm like, "I'm not being weird. I feel like shit, man. I can't eat. It makes me sick, that stuff." I'm like, "Don't yell at me because I'm we're going drinking. Why aren't you going?" "I think it might kill me." Like, I don't know. So anyway,
I don't want to die.
Right. So I go home and I'm like, something's wrong. I go to the hospital. They go, "It's just your gallbladder." They don't check me anything. Go home. There's nothing we're going to do for you. I'm like, I don't feel right at all.
I don't appreciate it. It's just if it's in your body and they say it's just it's just mine.
Well, and I'd reach out to so many people. Yeah, I'd reach out to so many people, and they're like, "Yeah, I had it," and they immediately removed it. And then they're like, "We don't like doing that. We're not going to remove your gallbladder." I'm like, "Okay." So they send me home.
All right.
So I'm just off this cruise. I'm home. I like get off the cruise, go to home, and go straight to the hospital. They send me home, and it's the next day, and we had Black Hawks tickets. And we're supposed to go, and I told my wife, "I'm not going to go. I want you to go." She's like, "I'm not going to go without you. You're not well." I'm like, "No, just go."
Yeah.
She's fighting me on it, and so she's kind of
around. You usually are. I think I might stay with you.
And I'm like, "Can you bring me a blanket?" And she comes in, and she's like, "We got to go to the hospital right now." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "Just get up." Well, my lips were blue, I guess.
Oh.
And so I go into the hospital. And my temperature was 94. I wasn't running a fever. My temperature was 94. I'm like, "Is that good?" They're like, "No, you're going to gallbladder."
No, that's less than good.
My gallbladder ruptured.
You're heading towards room temperature.
My gallbladder ruptured, and all that, I had sepsis. So I was in the ICU. God. They had to do emergency surgery where I look like I was attacked by Freddy Krueger because they had to open me up. When they do usually there's like laparoscopic surgery, they had to open me up to get all the stones, all the, your stomach. I mean, this is disgusting, but it was on me. Then I was in the ICU. I was in the ICU for 11 days after that.
Jesus.
And they didn't have room. This is true. They didn't have room on the regular floor. The only ICU was the mental ward. And I could see the guy across from me, and he had a metal canopy on his bed, and he would climb it and scream. And that was my 11 days of just sitting in there, unable to move. and just watching some dude screaming and screaming. And they were great. The nurses kind of hung out in a room. We're like, you're great. Like, this is awesome. We're gonna hang out here, get away from people. But yeah, like they said if she hadn't caught that, or if she'd went to the pox scheme, I would have been dead. They brought me in and they said it was, a couple hours from done. And sepsis is no joke. Sepsis is no joke. That's the second time
it's not a joke.
Yeah, I cut my leg on another vacation. We were swimming. And I cut my leg on a prop. I was too close to a boat, and it got infected. Just it was a little scratch. It looks like a little bitty scratch like this. Like you cut yourself on a piece of anything. But the lake, it was in Lake of the Ozarks. Guess the lake water is dirty, and I got sepsis from that. So I had to have IV antibiotics.
Osage Lake?
Osage, Lake of the Ozarks.
You got poisoned by Osage?
Yeah, the Missouri came after me, and I guess once you've had sepsis, which I would have had sepsis anyway, when your gallbladder dumps its contents in you. I didn't get any of the gallstones though, and I was like, damn it, I should have asked for them. I could shake them in a glass.
Yeah, you just found a souvenir.
But,
exactly.
So I spent like 11 days in the ICU for that. Did a couple days in regular, and they let me go home. Everything's great. Well, then last year it's our anniversary, and every year on our anniversary we try to go somewhere. So we did this big. It was also homecoming. I went to SIU Carbondale, and it was homecoming. So we're doing this drive where we go to South Carolina. Then we're going to go through Nashville, which is when we found that we looked for our house, started looking then, and then back up through Southern Illinois to our homecoming and stuff. And we're in North Carolina like the first few days, and I'm like, I don't feel right. Like something's wrong. And I'm like, she's like, of course, you're probably about to die. She's joking with me. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't feel, and I'm just like, so by the time we get home, she has to drive home from Southern Illinois. And I immediately, I go in, I can't walk into the house. She has to help me. Like, I can't breathe. I'm like, and I go to take a shower. I'm like, maybe this will help. And I couldn't stand up. We had to call an ambulance.
Oh, Jesus.
And I had viral and bacterial pneumonia. And my lungs were white it was full. So I spent 2 weeks in the ICU on it with a breathing machine. 2 freaking weeks. This was a private room. It was nice. Getting used to it now. And then that breathing machine, because I was on the breathing machine. So
sure, my lungs were full of pneumonia.
Yeah, but here we go. So the breathing machine dried out my sinuses so bad. So then I was having all these nosebleeds, and I'm still fighting nasal stuff to this day because of that. I gotta stop going on vacations, I think, or traveling, because whatever or licking my hand after I touch everything, maybe, because I don't know. I pick up whatever shit is out there.
Stop licking doorknobs, man.
Stop licking door handles is my takeaway. But yeah, man, I guess it's funny, and at least if I get sick, I do it right, I'm swinging for the fences, I guess. But
you're in ICU. You've literally spent a month in ICU.
Yeah, and so I've had 2 hospital stays since we started the show. And I said, our fans always say, you're really trying to die. I'm like, I'm trying. I'm just not good at it, but we'll get there. Jesus. And it's not even cool shit. It's not like I wrecked my Harley trying to pick up some broad. I'm like, I got pneumonia from going to a mansion tour in North Carolina. The Biltmore killed me or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you got cut by a prop. And,
funny.
Yeah.
When they told me that I had pneumonia, they're like, have you been traveling? And I said, yeah. They said, you weren't in Tennessee by any chance, right? And I said, yeah. They're like, were you spelunking? Because I guess there's a form of pneumonia. I'm like, do I fucking look like I fit in caves or rock climb of any sort? No, I was not spelunking, so we can cross that off.
But you can get a respiratory from from guano, from bat
guano. Yeah. So, and I had we've actually went on vacations. We went in caves before, but no, this was not that. So, but yeah, and they're just and it's funny because when they're like, well, we don't know where it comes from, so then they have the infectious disease people and the regular and everyone, and they're all fighting with one another. The doctors, it's not a fun place to be. I don't know if you know that or not. Spoiler alert.
Dr. House in there.
Yeah, right. And and they're like, well, can I bring in the people to try to teach? I'm like, sure, man, you don't know what it is. Maybe one of them's got a better idea. So
yeah. Hey, I'm open, man.
It's terrible to, right?
See what we got here. I'm
it's terrible to feel sick when you're not home.
That might save my life.
Hey, let's see what sticks to the wall. Throw some shit out. It's terrible to feel sick when you're not home, and especially like when you're doing stuff like that. I'm like, it's funny in my head. I'm like, I don't want to ruin other people's time. You know what I mean? Like I don't, so I'm trying to go out and why aren't you drinking or why aren't you and I'm like, everything's fine, but you're trying to play along. And inside I'm like, I want to be in bed, in my own bed, and we were driving. So no matter what, it's like hours and hours. Yeah. So it's so funny.
That's not
when you have to go to the hospital. It's such a hard
shade of purple you usually are. Why don't we go to the doctor?
Have you been putting on my makeup? No, then we need to go to the hospital. Like, it's such a hard question too. Like, should I call 911? Like, it should be like, holy shit, but it's like, no, I'm fine. You feel bad. I remember when they're there, I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They're like, why are you sorry? I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get sepsis.
Yeah, no, carry my 300-pound ass out of here. Carry me. So that's the way it goes. So yeah.
Oh, what happened to me? I got my hernia fixed. And by the way, if you have an umbilical hernia,
I have an umbilical hernia. And and do you have your belly button that looks like it's an outie now instead of an innie? Great conversation, but I have one right now.
Not anymore, but my advice is don't get it fixed. It hurts like a motherfucker. It hurts so fucking bad. Like, you don't
mine they think got from my surgery and it cut there was like in the lining or something like that. Because right after my surgery, I got it. And my doctor was like, don't get it fixed because you're not in a lot of pain. You might have more pain after. That's exactly what I was told.
Oh,
so
God,
you're in pain now?
Not might. No, there's no might.
Really?
It's not a little.
It doesn't affect me much at all. So that's good to know.
Oh.
This is the medical fucking anomaly hour. my worst doctor. But yeah, no, that's good to know because it's other than like, I know it, if you look at my, like, I have a little bit of my belly button doesn't look the same, but I was like, what the fuck is that? And I go to the doctor, he pushes on, I'm like, ugh, and he's like, yep, umbilical hernia.
Yeah, that's what the doctor did. He goes, well, let me see it. And I pull up my shirt and he just reaches out and goes, like that. And
oh yeah.
Squeezes it. Like,
he pushes it back in. Push it back in. And I go,
fucking position on the floor. And I'm a tough guy. I've boxed. I played football. I've scrapped. I've won a few. I've lost a few. But that motherfucker reaches out and punches.
I was out, and we have a friend named Bridget, and she hadn't seen me in a while. And I walked up, I'm like, hey, and she does a, hey, how are you? And just like slaps me across the belly. And I was like, I'm in the bathroom walking in circles, and I come back out and she's like, what the hell just happened? I'm like, like, she's like, you look like you're crying. I'm like, you were crying.
I was a car salesman for a while.
Yeah.
And I had, and
you're definitely going to hell. Yeah, I get it.
I go into the manager's office, and one of the managers just reaches out. He's new. And his name is Harold. And anyway, he reaches out. He goes, well, just like this, pop. And he hit me. And I started going down. My hernia. And
anyone with a hernia knows that, just like any man that sees another guy get hit in the nuts.
She knew I had a hernia.
Yeah.
Now, I still have to go back out and present numbers.
Oh, yeah.
To the people sitting at the desk. Yeah, I feel like I just got kicked in the nuts.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's a lingering pain like that, like crazy.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't stop. Yeah, it just doesn't stop. So I still got to go out, like walking like Quasimodo, like to get out and say, hey,
yeah,
how are you?
Yeah, don't touch me. What? Sorry. Yeah, man, it is funny. You said like you're nuts. That's what it's like. It's like if you have one. Describing that is just like a man seeing another man get hit in the nuts. You can kind of feel it. You go, it's the same thing.
So, ladies, if you want to know what it's like to get kicked in the nuts, get a hernia. Have somebody slap it.
I don't know though. I tell you, I think I'd rather take the hernia slap than the nut shot. I don't know. The nut shot, I
Oh.
see someone on a TV show
So
get
bad.
slapped in the nuts, and I get that like hot spits in my throat. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
The worst thing is about getting. Well, the worst thing about your nuts is it's just like when you stub your toe. I know it's like a half a second, but in your mind, there's about 30 minutes of fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. When you're waiting.
Here it comes.
Times thing, it's like you turn into the Flash and everything
after my
slows
hernia
down.
surgery. Yeah, they gave me you didn't eat anything, and then for the full day, and then you had your surgery the next morning, and then they gave me first they hit me with some fentanyl, because when I came out of it, they go, "What's your pain level?" And I'm like 10, 10, 10, and then they go, "Well, hit him with some fentanyl," and they gave me the fentanyl, and I'm like 9, 8, holding at 8, and then so finally, a little bit later, they give me a Norco. So I've had no food. I've been under anesthesia. They hit me with fentanyl.
We just want you to
give me a Norco.
Yeah.
And send him the fuck home. And I'm huddled it's bad. And so I laid down on the bed, and as soon as I laid down, I realized I got to piss. And I'm like,
that's how it always works. So yeah, right.
So I had to get back up, and I mean, it was miserable pain. And my wife's behind me, and I'm going into my bathroom, and I'm like, I'm going out. She's like, what? And the next thing I wake up, I'm sitting on the toilet.
No shit.
She's like slapping me.
Wow.
And my daughter's on the phone with 911.
Baby, I'm going out. You had to work. This is happening.
And my toilet is right next to my sink. And I'm
You're really going out like the king did.
Yeah. I just need food. I was lights out.
And now everyone calls you Elvis because you went out on the toilet.
Threw me, so I landed on the toilet.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
And I'm turn on the sink water. I'm like splashing my head with cold water. I'm like, I just need some food.
Well, so when I went into the hospital too, it's funny because they're running tons of tests, and I had not ate because I'd been sick. I had to eat anything that day. So they come and they check my, your blood sugar and everything, and they're like, everything's fine. You haven't ate anything, right? Like, no. So we're gonna bring you. You need to get something in you because we're going to give you all these medications and stuff. So they bring me 3 of those juice boxes of orange juice. They put it in me, and immediately after that, someone comes in and they take my blood test again, and they're like, "Your sugar's really high. Oh my God, you're diabetic." I'm like, "I'm not diabetic. I just drank a whole bunch of orange juice." And I'm fighting with them until the other woman comes in.
In a hospital.
Yeah, and then finally the other woman comes in. She's like, "He just drank 3 large glasses of orange juice." And she's like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "I told her," but she's just like, "Mm-mm." I'm like, "I don't want extra medication that I don't need." You know what I mean?
No,
it's kind of scary, the checks or the lack of checks and balances sometimes. And they're doing them, God bless nurses and medical people. You got a job and a half.
We've got charts. They need to write on the fucking charts. Look at the fucking chart.
Have you ever tried to read one of those charts? That's not. But yeah, you're right. You're right though.
Jesus. 3 large glasses of orange juice. Aha! A clue. I fucking get it now.
So I have so my wife,
genius.
God bless her. Speaking of your wife saving you. So right before we got married, I fell at work and I ripped my ring finger off of my left hand off, and it was reattached. Where's the camera at? You can't see. So it droops and I can't bend it. I can't make a fist, and it crushed my hand. So they had to reattach it, and it was still attached with skin and stuff, but not all of it. It was a very fun thing to look at, and it really didn't hurt at the time. I think I was in shock, and I was like, you know what you do? You try to put it back. I'm like, oh, that doesn't go there. You know what I mean? So anyway, and I had 6 surgeries since we've been together. I had 6 surgeries. So speaking on that gallbladder one of the reasons I was in the ICU for so long. So I've had 6 surgeries, and every surgery I wake up in the surgery, and I burn through medication. It's got a name. I can't think of what it's called.
You wake up in the surgery?
Every one of them.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then you tell the anesthesiologist next one. They go,
redhead? Are you
No, I'm.
Are you a
weird.
ginger?
Blonde, brown.
Brown?
What's that?
Brown. Okay.
No, I'm not a redhead. No.
Hard to tell. It's hard to tell on a camera.
A lot of whites in here. That's why I don't
Okay.
grow a beard until white.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I gotta.
But
Yeah.
so you tell the next anesthesiologist, they're like, yeah, right. I'm like, no, like the last one said it. So I go through all those. The gallbladder thing comes in, and my wife is like, we need to talk to the anesthesiologist first. So they come in, and she's like, he wakes up in every surgery. We're supposed to tell you that. It's like, well, what kind of surgeries? And like, well, he was out for, they were doing reconstruction, and I got all these pins, and then they moved a tendon. They do all this stuff. Well, those are different. You're not going to wake up in this. I'm like, well, I was told you're supposed to chart that or whatever. It's not going to. I woke up in the middle of it, and I was intubated.
A fun thing about the medical industry is they're not arrogant at all.
Right?
They truly do know.
That's not going to happen with me. Well, I woke up and I had tubes down my throat, and you immediately try to breathe. You can't breathe. I moved and I collapsed both my lungs. So that's why I was in the ICU for so long. So they had to, because it's not a movie. They don't just reinflate your lungs. They have to do it like in stages. You take all these breathing tests every 30, then like you blow in or you suck in and it goes in. Well, I collapsed both my lungs because of that. They come out and then she's like, wow, you really did wake up. I did not expect that. Make sure you tell your next anesthesiologist if you ever have another. I'm like,
the doctor. How about that?
Didn't see that coming.
I was wrong.
And I get it, because if they give you too much, you can't wake up. But like, I'm not asking for it because I want to take an extra long sleep. Like like it's not fun to wake up. You don't feel anything.
I'm not getting high, dude. I just don't want to wake up.
They either put me out or I passed out after I couldn't breathe, because I remember I'm in there and I'm like, I can't breathe. You're panicking and they're like holding you down because you're struggling. And I'm like, this is horrible.
That and the lack of oxygen that's going into your body.
What's that?
That could be it. Yeah. The lack of oxygen that's now going into your body.
Yeah. So that's so my own worst enemy on my own worst holiday. So yeah, you know how it goes. But like they don't listen. And I'm not bashing the medical community at all. I'm just sharing my repeat offender experiences with it.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Some bad things are bound to happen in the medical.
And it's terrible because like lead such a clean, perfect life, so never overeat or do anything bad. So I don't know why. Why is this happening to me, Lord? Why is it going to be me, Lord?
Exactly. I know it can't be from my cigars and drinking.
I don't understand that. Right? At any.
I do have a friend. I'll kind of end it on this one because we got to wrap it up. I've got a friend, and I remember him looking at me in all sincerity, because the guy just he's something else. He goes, Mark, if it wasn't for my drinking and my smoking, I could run a 3-minute mile.
Yeah.
Is that's all it's holding you back?
Yeah.
It's just your drinking and smoking.
That's it. Yeah. If it wasn't for my genetics, I'd be
not
hot.
You'd be an Olympian. I get it.
That's all. We figured it out.
If you just get rid of those two things.
No one on earth can do that, but I could.
Yeah, the sincerity that he said it with, like, Joe, I used to run the mile, and I didn't drink it. Well, I didn't. Yeah, I did. I did both of them. Never mind. Either way, I used to run the mile.
That's hilarious.
In high school.
Yep. Yeah, that was always
6
fun.
and a half. 6.5 was my best.
Think about that. You think about like running a mile, and you used to do that as a kid in a few minutes. Now, if you told me I had to run a mile, number one, I'd hit you. But number two, like no, you're just like,
I can do
youth
it.
Was great.
My best at this point was right around 14 minutes. Was my best now. So,
right? Yeah.
That was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So that's with drinking and smoking.
More than double, and you're like, hey, I'm proud of that. Hell yeah, man. Yeah. Mine would.
Hey, I'm 58. That's fucking great. 58, man. If I can do 14 minutes in a mile, I'm not mad at that.
Even the fact that you know how long it takes you to do a mile, that's pretty impressive. That's great. Hell yeah. I can do it, and depending on what the speed limit is. Because if I'm going a mile, I'm in a car. So that's how it works for me.
Okay, Brent, we got to wrap this up.
Thank you so much.
Hang on after this is over, because I always love to talk to you after this.
Yeah.
You got the floor. Tell us everything about you, where they can find you, where they can send you money. Brent, you have the floor. Go, buddy.
Thank you very much. If you like the world of the weird, aliens, the occult, weird stuff, we do 2 episodes a week now. We do a weird news on Wednesdays and a regular episode drop on Fridays. Hysteria 51, you can look that up.
Weird
We got our own website, hysteria51.com, and anywhere you find your podcasts, you can find us. And yeah, give us a shout out. Let us know that you found us on here, and we'd love it. Thank you so much for having me. And this time we had internet, so we're moving in the right direction. I wasn't
good things happen to good people sometimes, Brent. That's all
I wasn't just
buddy.
Frozen the entire time making a dumb face. So it's perfect.
Ed, go ahead.
Right. Yeah. At least you didn't hear what I was saying about you last time. So it worked out, Worked out.
Didn't care. I like there's people.
That's what the vodka's for.
About me, man.
That's what the vodka's for.
Exactly. He's not scripted. Not even a little.
You mean they're not reading this off a teleprompter? I don't believe you. I don't believe that at all.
Exactly. I like to bait people like, so tell me something about yourself before we start.
Yeah. I like to get to know people. What was your mother's maiden name and your first make and model of your car?
So I hear the 9 iron's your favorite club. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah,
that didn't just fucking come up. Yeah, you were talking to somebody in the hallway who said his fucking favorite iron was a 9 iron. God damn it, I fucking hate scripted bullshit. Not here, folks. Anyway, right? So you can always find me at My Worst Holiday. You can find us Mosaic TV, baby, and YouTube at My Worst Holiday Podcast. I got old episodes. They're on Apple. I don't fucking download to Apple anymore. I just do YouTube. Fuck it. How many listeners you got? I don't know. I don't care. There you go. So you can always find me or give me money. Give him money. Go to Patreon at My Worst Holiday at patreon.com. Give me your fucking money. I just want some of your money because I'm greedy. I do fine by myself, but I always like your money too. I think that's the key. Just act like you don't need it, and they'll give it to you. Maybe something like that. And with that being said, from a room next to my bathroom in my basement, this has been My Worst Holiday. Hold on, I gotta find my cursor. Where the fuck did it go? I can't turn.
I play that game all the time. Where's the cursor?
Can't find my cursor. Here we go. Okay. And in stream. Good night, everybody. Love y'all.
Thank you.
Maybe if I can click it. Okay, there we go.
Oh my God.
There it is.
Dude, I'm just looking at the comments. The last one. It says, let me put my glasses back on. It says, sounds like a guy would cut his own cast off at a hardware store. I broke my hand in college, and then I was supposed to get my cast off, and my doctor went on vacation, and because it was through the school, you got to do him. I'm like, fuck this. That was my buddy, and we went to the hardware and borrowed their 10 shears and cut my cast off
I cut my cast off my leg. Yeah, I cut my own cast off on my leg.
Rex, can you hear this? I said you should when you see it. That's hilarious. Oh my God. I remember we took it back to his house, and it was there for like a week, and he's like, that stinks so bad, I'm throwing it away. I was like, yeah, that's so...
Well, here's what happened. My buddies and I, we went to Springfield, and I'm still on my fucking in my walking boot, my walking cast, and we went to Deja Vu. It was the first strip joint we ever went to.
Hundreds of beautiful women,
no booze. Oh yeah. So my buddy first goes through the curtain, comes back out, grabs me, and he goes, "There's a naked woman right there," and he starts dragging. I'm like, "Well, wait for everybody else." He goes, "Fuck him," and he's just dragging me, and I'm hopping, And so anyway, we go back to the hotel a little bit later that night. Those fuckers throw me in the pool. So I've got my cast on, and thank goodness it wasn't a plaster cast anymore. It's like one of those wrap mesh ones,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it was the next week I had to cut my cast off, and because I jumped in the pool, the chlorine killed everything.
Yeah.
So mine didn't stink.
Mine was all shredded from using like rulers to itch it and everything. Mouse is on here. I'm just now seeing this. Michael Cole, Eric. Mr. James Polk, the president himself, blessed us with his appearance on here. That's awesome. Thank you guys for watching.
There were several people. I tried to get to everybody when we were talking and such. Oh, it went further down. I didn't scroll down. I see. Yeah. Good seeing you, brother.
Quans.
Rex McGuire.
Talking about going to the bars, Quans. So I'm from right outside of, like I said, Chicago, and there's these two bars. There's a building between them. And so it's Quans and then the James Joyce. And it's the same people. And you might have a tab at one, you just walk over to the other one. Like at the end of the night, they just exchange their glasses back to one another. So that's one of my buddies that he's seen me on my best behavior. I promise you, while drinking. So that's great. I literally couldn't read the chat without my glasses on. That's how bad it is. So
is that right? Yeah, you should have kept them on. They're cool looking glasses. I like the blue.
Yeah, they're like a 4-pack. They come in like 4. Amazon.com cheaters. There you go.
No, I get the ones they look like that. They're not quite like that. Here, just a second. I got in my bathroom next to my bed.
I got another pair over here too. This is our age. We're like, check out my glasses. I'll be right back. I'll find them in this drawer.
Yeah.
They're in here. They're somewhere in here.
Yeah, these are my favorites. I'm on like my 4th pair, but they're and they got the outside hinges.
Those look a lot like these.
I think they might be. Yeah,
they come in like 4-packs up there.
Like $12.
Yeah, and then I have these ones, but if I wear my headphones, they like squeeze them onto my nose. So
yeah, no, these are.
Clyde spent like a minute and a half.
Yeah,
these are great, and
I'm
they're
on
so
like
cheap.
my 4th pair.
I buy
They
like
break
a 4-pack.
They break at the hinge.
Well, I buy a 4-pack and I throw them everywhere. That way, they're just everywhere. So if I go in a room, I don't got to go. Where are my glasses?
Yeah,
I actually have a necklace. It looks like a necklace that's got a round circle, and it's for hanging your glasses. And people are like, "I like that necklace." I'm like, "That's why I got it, so it doesn't look like, I got like the string hanging down or something like that."
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Used to be like, what are we going to do tonight? How are we going to party? Now I'm like, do I have my glasses if we're going out? Like, I don't know. My wife's not here. I got to read things. Definitely different. I was talking to a buddy, and we went to a bar, and he goes, "Man, times have changed." I go, "Why?" He goes, "You just threw down your pocket." He goes, "You threw down a little thing with Advil in it and an inhaler. Those aren't the drugs we used to want to." Yeah, no shit, right? Times are changing.
Times are changing. Yeah,
those are the drug of choice.
Like, I just got out of my recliner and stood up, and it felt like my fucking foot had broken. Not that it was strained or anything. It felt like a broken fucking foot. I'm like, ow!
It's like those memes.
And I didn't do anything.
Yeah,
they
show
from
a
my
child
room into my main room in my basement, and my fucking knee just went, ow! Like
it's like they show those kid falls off of a roof and he bounced back up, takes off running. Then they show someone like just sit up in bed. Oh, Jesus, that's the way the world works. You go to the doctor.
I was literally walking out of Menards yesterday, and the same thing happened to my knee. Like I wasn't like nothing in my way, nothing, and there's cars waiting, letting me by, and all of a sudden my knee fucking did that fucking thing, and I was like, ah! I just started like hobbling.
People are looking at that like, "Sweetie, don't make eye contact with that man."
Yeah. Don't look at the weird dude, honey.
Yeah, it's like when you walk through a spider web.
Number one, they're right. The weird dude. But number 2, they don't know that. They don't know that.
Yeah. Shame on them. That's right.
Yeah,
I think it's only like the second time I've used StreamYard. This worked real well. It's easy to hook up. A lot better.
I love it.
We do a lot of stuff with Zoom and oh my God, Google Meets is terrible. depending, people. So in my studio, I have I do a lot of like looping, like, so for movies, they need, some voiceover stuff. I'll have people come in, and it's always a director on, talking to the person. I'm just there. They're just recording. And like, it's always like, I use, their proprietary for their studio or something like that. And then we spend like 15 minutes because they don't know how to hook stuff up. I'm like, why don't you just use Zoom or StreamYard or something normal?
Use StreamYard.
It works.
It was 25. They bumped it up to 50, but
yeah,
it's so fucking easy. Send a link, click it.
I use Zoom in mine, and they bumped it up too because I have to have two, because sometimes we're running, because we have two. Sometimes we'll have two going on, in different rooms. So, they always nickel and dime you, and everything goes up more expensive. But God forbid, I use Adobe every year. Here's a few $100s for something I've already bought. It's
oh, is that
fun,
right? No, I don't use Adobe or anything else like that. But but what I do, like, mine is so much more simple than everything that you do, Brent. I mean, you've got a big production going on.
Well, I don't do the cameras and stuff as much. I am doing that in the new one, but so we have a four mic room, and then I have a booth, for really quiet, if they voiceover and stuff. But if you don't know how to use a mic, that's worse, because every sound you make and stuff, so when someone's like, how to use a mic, let's get you in here and do this.
Literally, my sound comes from a Logitech camera. Like, that's it.
What I saw? Now they have stuff you can use your old cameras, your old camera phones that have 1080p, and use them as a webcam now. Multiples. There's a bunch of different applications now. Yep. And just plug it in, and you can stream 1080p, and it has better frame rate. I did it with 4K on my new one, but it gets hot as shit. Like, your phone is like literally sizzling. So I don't think it's good for it.
Yeah.
480, but I put it like 480p at like 90 frame, or 4K at 90 frames, and it looked amazing until like I went to touch my phone. I'm like, oh, shit.
I got a newer computer, but the refresh rate on that one just sucks. I'm using like a much older, like the computer I'm using right now, I bet is 15 years old.
So you're only one camera. So I worked on it with a show for Kevin Crispin, who does Sad Times, was originally a YouTube channel, and they used OBS Studio, and because it's a multi-channel, it's a multi-camera and stuff like that. And I actually just downloaded, because I'm going to start doing stuff. What's it called here? 1 second here. V? Sorry, I'm something broadcaster. V broadcaster or
I'll
something
have to
like
look
that.
And see how because I've got
It's
another
kind of
phone.
Well, you can tell it, like, okay, we're
iPhone.
going to go to. It integrates with like StreamYard or anything, and so it talks to it. So you make all these changes in broadcaster or OBS or whatever, and then it sends it to StreamYard. So you can have multiple cameras and all that stuff and use them. And I used, when I was doing that, you ever seen a Steam Deck with the little the buttons that you can program? They had one, and so that's what I use. And you can just hit it and it changes camera. So you can just like a touch of a button that changes. You don't even have to like pay attention. It's kind of nice. And they have you can do it on the computer too. If you have like another screen, you can just click on it and stuff. It makes it real simple, because everything's done by like a
like mine's always just been such basic bitch. Like
but this is okay.
Like I went through generations of changing things, but StreamYard was like the best idea that
no one gave a shit about cameras. I never went in to do it. We got established when that wasn't a thing, and I've kind of bucked the trend, so to speak. And I think it's time.
Yeah. No, I started like I had two iPads. I had two iPads up, and I had the sound coming out of one and going into the other, and I brought in the guest on one iPad, and recorded on the other one, so that I could I worked them in tandem, where where you could see me, but they couldn't see you.
I use this thing called
BPM. So we were still talking kind of like StreamYard, just like this, but they could only see me and hear you.
Yeah. What's that? It's a what's that called? got a name. You need I can't think what it's called, but when you gotta get the sounds, and you want to make sure that if you have drops, they can hear them too. Which now, if you get a board or anything, it just does it for you. I use a program called VCam, and you tell your program to look for it instead of your actual camera, and so I can change my there. I'm in the porn room.
Oh yeah.
You can change your backgrounds and logos and stuff like that. It's real quick on the fly,
Right.
and it does that. So anything that
you guys
even
still
doesn't
doing the
support.
fourth hand?
What's that?
Are you still doing the fourth hand?
So that's
thing,
I'm building the new studio. So the fourth hand, yeah. So that'll be right back. We closed and moved here, and we haven't got it done. We just finished remodeling the house, and now I'm going to start that. So hopefully, they think February will be done.
Yeah. Well, I kind of dropped out for almost like 6 months.
Well, I haven't been doing anything with the other
shows.
Yeah, I haven't done anything with the other shows because no one was really active, and I got so busy with clients in studio. I was like, yeah, this is fine. So
and that happened. That happened.
What does,
I used to say like we are My Worst Holiday is a fourth hand production. And
yeah,
I used to say that at the end of it, but
heck yeah, it's always just like it's one of those things where hey, I've heard that before, you know what I mean, or things like that, and we only had a couple people that were like really into it, but yeah, so this is trimmed down so you can't see, but I got tons of dumb backgrounds, and you can put name tags and stuff. So VCam, I think
I like that. That looks cool as fuck.
This is Rick and Morty's. You can't see it.
What is that?
It's how do I get out of the way here? It's the garage.
Oh, it's Rick and Morty? It is Rick and Morty.
Yeah. And the other one I was in, it's the porn office, with the leather
porn couch.
Yeah, the porn couch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my girlfriend is interviewing for a new job. Good luck.
Yeah, she's got a 7:00 with me tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, things are changing. We had when we started, as you did too. There was no boards that did everything for you, and everything was music equipment.
No.
And now, if you want to start a podcast, you can go buy a box at the store and be online in no time.
Well, yeah. Well, literally, like my favorite podcast is, and it still is The Dollop.
Oh yeah.
And it's a crazy story. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's just the craziest fucking story. But anyway, he told me about podcasts. I was like, I've heard of them. And this is when I sell my cars.
What year did you start?
Yeah, I've heard of him. He goes, the one I listen to is called The Dollop. He goes, it's an American history podcast. And I'm like,
yeah.
He goes, it's really funny. And I go, okay, well, I'll look it up. So I did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it's right up my alley. It's American history. Yeah. It's two comedians. One tells a story. The other one doesn't know what the story's about. And he just adds commentary in as the guy's telling the story. Ad lib. Right up my fucking alley.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So I binge it all. I got a gnat in here. It's driving me nuts. But anyway, but I listen to them all. I go, I need something else. I need something else. Yeah. And so I go on Apple and I go comedy. And I'm listening to these god awful, just fucking awful. And they're rated really high. And I'm like, how the fuck is this funny? Like, how much does it cost to start a podcast?
Yeah, right.
So I started.
Is that one of those things where you're like, I could do that?
Yes, for a single microphone and a single board.
Yeah,
is $100. I'm like, boom. What's it going to be about? That's another thing it has to be. What's it going to be fucking about?
Yeah, Ramblecasts, you've got a point to this. Ramblecasts might have worked. They don't really anymore, especially in the world of celebrity podcasters. So yeah,
drives me. Two bros in a basement drive me fucking batty.
There are shows like Armchair Expert with Dak Shepard is a good show. The one that Michael Rosenbaum does is a good show.
But again with Dak Shepard. All right.
Well, that's the point.
He's usually fucking talented. He's got a ton of fucking money.
Right.
And he has people that can write for him. He has people that can bring in guests. He has people that can do all this shit for him. Right. So let's take him off the board. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about Fred and Bill in a basement telling inside jokes nobody else fucking understands.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then after 6 months, they fucking quit. So they've just used up this much. But anyway, So I'd listen to Bob and Tom. You remember Bob and Tom?
Of course. Listen to them for
Yes.
years. Yeah, they were
Yes. Okay.
on the radio
They
where I
had
was. Yeah.
they had horrible Thanksgiving stories one time,
Mhm.
and I was dying.
Yeah.
And I go, well, wait a minute. Why don't we just open this up to funny or embarrassing life stories?
Right.
You
That's great.
know?
Well, so that's
At
kind of
first I
similar.
started off with holidays,
Yeah. Hmm.
and that's where the My Worst Holiday came in.
But
And so
yeah,
I patented it.
yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
I
great.
got it all.
Same
I built my
thing.
website and everything,
Mhm.
and then it hits me later, like, because I'm a fucking moron. Like, why are we just talking about holidays?
Yeah.
Everybody has a
Yeah.
fucked up story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody. So now
Mhm.
I'm stuck with My Worst Holiday 8 years later. Like,
But it makes sense, and now people know, and they find it. And it's a good title too. Finding a title for a show is so important because you want it to be quick, to the point, catchy, and people know what you're about. That's hard. We sat down and we were coming up with
yeah,
everything, and we were throwing things. Well, what are we going to talk about? Aliens, a cult, blah blah, Area 51, and we're like, what if we? And like I just like, well, Hysteria rhymes with that. I was playing Mega Man on my couch with John, and we're like brainstorming. I'm like, what do we did? Like Hysteria 51. He's like, that's stupid. And then like an hour later, he's like, no, it's not. That's actually really good. Let's do it. And we actually had a
it's
podcast
really
before that
good.
called Rad or Fad, and we looked at stuff from like the 70s and 80s when we were growing up. That was cool. Did it
Right.
last? We like, was it rad or was it a fad? We liked that show better in the beginning because we had a lot of engagement. But Hysteria 51 blew up, and I didn't have time for both shows. You know what I mean? So that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And it's we were, what you're talking about too is you're looking at, like, you go, I want to see this show. You couldn't find it, so you made it. That was what we did too. I wanted a show about the world of the weird, and they were also serious. Other than there was, at that time, there was already Last Podcast on the Left, but they're all over the fucking place. But
Right.
we were like, I want to do real research, dives into stuff, because, and people say you're too skeptical. No, well, we just do research because so many people go, here's the story. All right, see you next week. And you're like, but that's not,
Hold
that
on for a
didn't
second.
happen.
Yeah, what's up, Jack?
Yeah.
No, I don't have a 20. Yeah, my wallet is upstairs.
I'll be back in 30 seconds. I got to run to the
table. Okay.
Give me 30 seconds. I'm going to run to the restroom real quick.
All right. God, you can piss fast. 30 seconds? Jesus. Is this still going? This is still going.